I walked into the office at 8:47 in the morning, 13 minutes early. I had planned to be 15 minutes early, but the elevator was slow. I stood outside the glass door for just a second, looking at my own reflection. New blazer, hair done, smile practiced in the bathroom mirror at home. And I thought, okay, I can do this.
What happened next?
I walked in, said good morning to the receptionist. She smiled, said you must be the new one, and then nothing. She went back to her screen. And I just stood there, not knowing where to go. Not knowing if I should sit down or wait, or introduce myself to the person nearest to me who was clearly very busy, or just stand there like a confused tourist in a city where nobody asked if you needed directions.
The first 30 seconds of a new job.
I walked in, said good morning to the receptionist. She smiled, said you must be the new one, and then nothing. She went back to her screen. And I just stood there, not knowing where to go. Not knowing if I should sit down or wait, or introduce myself to the person nearest to me who was clearly very busy, or just stand there like a confused tourist in a city where nobody asked if you needed directions.
That image is exactly right. You're not just learning to swim, you're doing it in the middle of the ocean while people watch.
I survived it. I more than survived it, actually. But I came home that night exhausted in a way that had nothing to do with the actual work. It was the people English, the social English, the kind that nobody teaches in a textbook, and that's what today's episode is about. Welcome to Noka Daily English. I'm Noka, and that story I just told you, that is real. That was me 3 years ago, standing frozen in a lobby wondering if anyone was going to tell me what to do next.
And I'm Leo. Today we're giving you a complete survival kit for your first day at a new job. In English, how to introduce yourself in a way that people actually remember, how to handle small talk when you don't know anyone, how to ask questions without feeling like a burden, and how to end your first day in a way that leaves people thinking, yes, that's someone I want to work with.
We also have 3 role-plays later, real first-day conversations you can actually use. And a full vocabulary recap of 12 key phrases. All the language, all the context, all the confidence.
Whether your first day is next week, next month, or somewhere you're still imagining, this one is for you. Let's go. Noka, walk us through that first day more. After the lobby moment, what was the next challenge?
My manager came to meet me about 10 minutes later. She shook my hand and said, "So glad you're here. Come on, let me show you around." And then the tour started. And at every desk, every little cluster of people, she introduced me. And I had to say something every single time.
The desk tour introduction loop. I know this one.
By the 5th person, I had said the same sentence so many times it sounded robotic, like a recording. "Hi, I'm Noka. I'm the new marketing coordinator. Nice to meet you." Over and over. And I could see people kind of nodding and immediately forgetting, because there was nothing to hold on to. Nothing specific. I was a job title, not a person.
So what's the fix?
One real detail. That's it. You don't need a speech. You don't need to be funny or impressive or have a perfect English accent. You just need one thing that makes you specific. One sentence that sounds like an actual human being, not a job description.
Give us examples.
So instead of just "I'm the new marketing coordinator," try, "I'm Noka. I'm joining the marketing team. I actually used to work in education before this, so this whole industry is still quite new and exciting to me." Or, "I'm new to this specific type of role, but I've been following this company for a while. I love what you do with your community partnerships." Something real. Something only you could say, something that gives the other person a thread to pull.
You're giving them a door to open, a question to ask back.
Exactly, because "nice to meet you. I'm the coordinator" is a closed door. But I come from education. This is a fun change for me. That person might say, "Oh, what did you teach?" And suddenly you're not doing an introduction anymore. You're having a conversation. And conversations are what turn strangers into colleagues.
Let me add my story here too. My first day, different company, different city. My manager said, "Everyone, this is Leo," and then immediately went back to his meeting. So I was just placed in front of 7 people, all looking at me, waiting.
That is a nightmare scenario.
I panicked for exactly 2 seconds, and then I said, "So, I'm Leo. I'm the new data analyst. I just moved here from another city, still figuring out the neighborhood. Any coffee recommendations near the office? I need to find my spot before I can really function." Then 3 people immediately gave me coffee recommendations. One of them stood up and showed me a map on their phone. 15-minute conversation. I had an ally by lunchtime.
A coffee question. That is genius.
It works for several reasons. You're asking for help, and people genuinely love being helpful, especially to someone new. You're being honest about being new, not pretending to have everything figured out. And coffee is the one topic in almost every office where everyone has a strong opinion and something to say. It's the universal opening.
So, one real detail in your intro. And if you ever need an emergency conversation topic, coffee, write it down.
Let's talk about the actual language formula for a natural self-introduction in English. 4 parts: name, role or reason you're there, one personal detail, and an open door, a question or a statement that invites the other person to respond.
Let's build it together. Name, I'm Noka. Role, I'm joining the marketing team. Personal detail, I actually come from a teaching background, so this is a bit of a new world for me. I love it though. Open door, I'd love to hear how the team works around here. Any tips for the new person?
That last part, any tips for the new person, is incredibly powerful because you're positioning yourself as the student, and most people love being the person who has knowledge to share. You're making them feel useful. You're being humble without being weak. That combination is very attractive in a new colleague.
And it's honest. You are new. Lean into it rather than hiding it. The new person who asks genuine questions is always more memorable than the new person who stands quietly in the corner, hoping nobody notices them. Okay, small talk, the thing that fills every gap in a workday. The elevator ride up from the lobby, the 2 minutes waiting for the coffee to brew. The awkward 30 seconds before a meeting officially starts when everyone is just sitting there and nobody knows if they should be talking or checking their phone.
Small talk sounds small, but in a new job, every single one of those moments is also a relationship building moment. And you can't bank them for later. They happen in real time with real people, and if you go silent, the moment is gone.
And I know for a lot of English learners, small talk is actually the hardest form of English because nobody gave you the script. There's no textbook chapter on what to say when you're both waiting for the printer and you've already commented on the weather.
So let's give you the script, or at least the categories, because once you understand what kind of thing works in office small talk, you can generate your own versions.
Category 1, the physical environment, comments and questions about your shared space. Is it always this bright in the afternoons in here? This building has a great view. How long have you been in this office? I noticed there's a rooftop. Do people ever go up there? Observational, non-threatening, requires no personal disclosure.
Category 2, your first day experience itself. This is underused and it's gold. You can say things like, "I'm still figuring out where everything is. Is the good printer on this floor or do I need to go upstairs?" Or, "I've met so many people today, I'm genuinely worried I'm going to get names wrong tomorrow and offend someone." That kind of self-deprecating honesty is deeply relatable. It invites reassurance, and it's true.
People want to help the new person. When you admit to being slightly overwhelmed, most people lean in rather than away. It makes you human.
Category 3, genuine curiosity about their experience. How long have you been with the company? What team are you on? Is this a particularly busy time of year for you, or is it always like this? People like talking about themselves. A well-placed question is almost always more effective than trying to say something interesting.
There's a rule in conversation I love and I think about constantly. Be interested, not interesting. Stop trying to perform, start trying to discover. Ask more than you say and then actually listen to the answer, not just wait for your turn to speak.
If you're anxious about what to say, just ask, and then listen. And then ask a follow-up question about what they just said. You can have an entire 5-minute conversation by being genuinely curious about one person's experience, and they will walk away thinking you're a great conversationalist, even though technically you barely talked.
Because you made them feel heard, and feeling heard is rare and valuable.
What's a phrase that works well for keeping a conversation going, for when you want to hear more but don't know what exactly to ask?
Tell me more about that, for words. If someone says, yeah, I've been with the company about 3 years now, you say, really, tell me more about that. What's it been like? And they are off. You just gave someone the gift of being heard. And they will remember how that felt, and they will associate that feeling with you.
Now the hard moments. What about when you don't catch what someone said? Or you miss a joke everyone else laughed at? Or someone uses a phrase or reference that you've never heard?
This is so important to address because the instinct when you miss something in English, especially in a group, especially on your first day when you're already nervous, is to nod and smile and hope it blows over. And sometimes that works, but sometimes it doesn't. And then someone asks you a follow-up question about the thing you definitely did not hear. And suddenly you're in a much more awkward situation than if you just asked the first time.
So what do you do instead?
Be honest and be smooth about it at the same time. You can say, I'm sorry, I missed that. Could you say it one more time? Very simple. Or, I didn't quite catch the last part. What was that? Or, and this is a good one, sorry, still adjusting to the office noise levels. What did you say? You're explaining the miss without making it about your English. You're a new person in a new loud environment. That is completely believable.
And native speakers do this all the time too. The office noise excuse is universal. Nobody questions it.
And if you missed a joke, if everyone laughed and you were half a second behind, you can actually turn that into a moment. Say, I love the energy in here already. I clearly missed something good. What did I miss? And someone will explain it. You've turned a potentially awkward moment into participation, into curiosity, into personality.
The people who are most warmly remembered on their first day are almost always the ones who were present, genuine, and unafraid to be the newcomer, not the ones who were performing a kind of confidence they didn't actually feel.
Authenticity is magnetic, even in a second language. Maybe especially in a second language, because you're being brave just by showing up and trying. And people can sense that, and they respect it.
The thing I personally struggled with most on my first day, and honestly for the first few weeks, was asking questions, because I wanted to seem capable. I didn't want to interrupt someone who was clearly busy, and I had this background fear that I'd missed something I was supposed to already know, and asking would expose that gap.
That fear is so common, and the result is always the same. You don't ask. And then you spend 3 hours figuring out something that a 30-second question would have solved. And you feel worse about yourself at the end because now you've lost time and you feel incompetent.
What's the mindset shift that actually helps?
Questions are a sign of engagement, not weakness. The person who asks good, specific questions is the person who is paying attention. Who cares about getting things right? Who is invested in doing the work properly? The quiet person who never asks anything, that can actually be more concerning to a manager, not less. It can look like disengagement, like you're not sure what to do and you're hoping nobody notices.
So how do you frame questions in English so they feel professional and confident rather than helpless?
There are a few phrases that soften a question without making it sound weak. First, when you have a moment, could I ask you something about this? That tells the person, I respect your time. I'm not demanding your attention right this second. I can wait for a good time. That's a mature and professional way to open.
Second, I want to make sure I understand this correctly before I get started, just to double check. You're not saying I'm confused. You're saying I'm being careful. I'm being thorough. I want to do this right. That's a strength, framed as a question.
Third, and this one I love. I know this might be a basic question, but I'd rather ask than assume. That phrase is gold on a first day. You're showing self-awareness. You know you're new. You're choosing clarity over pride, and that is a deeply professional instinct.
And another one that reframes the ask entirely. Is there a specific process for this that I should follow? Instead of, I don't know what to do with this, which can sound lost, you're saying, I assume you have a system. I want to follow your system. That's respectful. That's collaborative.
The framing matters so much. The actual information you need is the same either way. But the packaging changes how it lands in the other person's mind. They hear one version as confusion. They hear the other version as conscientiousness.
Let's talk about something specific. What to do when your manager gives you unclear instructions, or when you realize halfway through a task that you might have interpreted something wrong.
This happens to everyone, in every job, at every level. Instructions are almost never as clear as the person giving them thinks they are. And the worst thing you can do is silently continue doing it the wrong way and then have to either redo everything or, worse, present something that completely missed the point.
So what do you say to your manager when you're not sure you're on the right track?
I want to make sure I'm heading in the right direction with this. Could I run my approach by you quickly before I go much further? That sentence shows 3 things. 1, you're already working. You have an approach. 2, you're being proactive about quality control. 3, you respect their time quickly. That is a confident and professional ask.
Or, just to confirm, the priority here is X, right? I want to make sure I'm focused on the most important thing first. That's not uncertainty. That's strategic. You're making sure you're working on the right things before you invest hours in the wrong direction.
And when you've made a mistake, which will happen, especially in the first weeks, the best thing you can do is flag it early and frame it cleanly. Something like, I think I may have misunderstood the brief on this. Can I ask you one quick question so I can adjust before I go further? You're not collapsing. You're course correcting. That's what good people do.
I want to share something a manager told me early in my career that I've never forgotten. She said, I don't care if you don't know things. I care that you're honest about what you don't know, because then we can fix it together. But if you pretend, I find out at the worst possible moment. That changed how I thought about questions forever.
The people who are honest about their gaps become the people that managers trust most. Not because they know everything, but because you always know where you stand with them. And in any workplace, that kind of reliability is more valuable than any amount of performed confidence.
Okay, the big one. How do you end your first day in a way that leaves a genuinely good impression? Not in a performative, exhausting, try too hard way. In a genuine, sustainable, this is actually who I am way.
Because the impression you make on day 1 becomes the default lens people see you through. Sometimes for months, it shifts over time, of course. But it's the starting point, and starting points matter.
So what actually works?
Number 1, remember names, or at least make a visible effort to. You won't remember everyone's name after one day. That's just not how memory works. But making the effort is visible. And if you see someone again later in the afternoon and you say, hey Sarah, I think we met this morning by the kitchen, that person feels noticed. That person feels like they mattered enough to be remembered. And that feeling is powerful.
A small trick that genuinely helps. Repeat the name back right when you meet them. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Then use it naturally once in the conversation. So Sarah, how long have you been on this team? Using the name helps it stick in your memory, and it also makes the other person feel good, because hearing your own name in a positive context is psychologically pleasant. It's a connection signal.
Number 2, close your conversations properly. Don't just drift away when someone gets called away or when there's a natural pause. Bring it to a close intentionally. Really nice to meet you. I hope we get to work on something together soon. Or, great talking to you. I'm definitely going to try that coffee place. Following through on small conversational details like that shows you are actually listening, not just waiting.
Number 3, and this one is underused. Check in with your manager before you leave. Even if it's 30 seconds, even if your day was completely fine, find them on your way out and say something like, hey, I wanted to say today was really great. A lot to take in, but I'm genuinely excited to get into things. Is there anything I should be thinking about or preparing for tomorrow?
That one sentence does 3 things. It expresses gratitude. It signals enthusiasm. And it asks a forward-looking question, which shows you're already thinking about tomorrow, not just surviving today. Managers remember that.
Number 4, and this is the one that matters most for the long run. Be the person who is easy to help. New people sometimes get defensive when they're corrected, or they're so worried about looking inexperienced that they become closed off and hard to approach. Don't be that person.
Be the person who says thank you so much. That's really helpful when someone explains something to you. Who says I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to show me that when someone walks you through a process? Gratitude is completely free, and it is deeply underused in professional settings. Use it generously, not performatively, genuinely.
And here's one more thing. Follow up on small details. The next day or the next week, circle back. If someone recommended a restaurant near the office and you tried it, mention it. That ramen place you told me about yesterday, genuinely incredible. Thank you. If someone showed you a system and it worked, tell them, I used that workflow you explained. It was exactly what I needed. Those follow-throughs create real connection over time.
People remember the feeling they had when they were around you more than the specific things you said. If they felt helpful, appreciated, listened to, they'll remember you warmly. They'll want to work with you. That is the impression worth building.
And one last thing about first days that I think doesn't get said enough. It is completely okay if it wasn't perfect. If you forgot 5 names, if you said sorry 4 times in one sentence, if you laughed a second too late at a joke, if you stood there for 30 silent seconds not knowing what to say, all of that is normal. All of that is human.
You don't have to be impressive on day one. You just have to be present, honest, willing. That is genuinely enough. The rest builds from there. Okay, comment time. And I actually want everyone to do this one. It takes 5 seconds.
One question, very easy.
What is one word that describes how you feel before a first day at something new? Could be nervous, excited, terrified, ready, blank, numb, electric, anything. One word, English or your own language. We will read every single one.
And we're continuing our listener feelings segment from episode 3, where we respond to words you left in the comments. If you commented last time, we might be answering yours.
Also, bonus question. Have you ever had a first day moment that made you want to disappear into the floor? We have stories. You probably do too. Share it. You might make someone else feel a lot less alone about their own disaster memory.
Role plays next.
3 situations. Real English for real first day moments. Say my lines out loud as we go. That is the practice.
Situation 1. You're being introduced at a team meeting. Your manager says your name and looks at you. As manager, everyone, I'd like you to meet our newest team member. Would you like to say a few words?
Natural intro. Hi everyone. I'm Noka. Really happy to be here. I come from a marketing background, but this industry is pretty new to me, so I'm genuinely excited to learn from all of you. I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone, and I've already heard the team lunches here are not to be missed.
Notice what she did. Name, background, excitement about learning from them specifically, and a warm, light moment at the end. Not a speech, not a resume, a person. Situation 2. You're stuck on something and you need to ask a colleague for help.
Approaching colleague at their desk. Hey, sorry to interrupt. I can see you're in the middle of something. When you have a free moment, I'd love to ask you about the project tracker. I just want to make sure I'm logging things the right way before I get too far in. No rush at all. Whenever works for you.
As colleague, of course, give me 5 minutes and I'll walk you through it.
Key phrases in that ask. Sorry to interrupt. I can see you're in the middle of something. When you have a free moment and no rush at all, you've acknowledged their time for separate ways. That person will almost always say yes because you've made it very easy for them to help you without feeling put upon.
Situation 3. End of day. You're packing up and your manager passes by. As manager, casual. Hey, heading out? How was your first day?
Genuine, warm close. It was really good. Honestly, a lot to take in all at once. But everyone has been so welcoming. I feel like I'm already starting to get a sense of how things work and how the team operates. Is there anything specific I should focus on or prepare for tomorrow?
No, you're good. Just come ready for the team meeting at 9.
Perfect. I'll be there. Thanks so much for today. I'm really looking forward to getting into things.
She closed the day with warmth. She asked a forward-looking question. She expressed genuine thanks without overdoing it. And the very last thing the manager heard from her was enthusiasm and professionalism. That's what stays.
Listeners, try all three of those scenarios tonight out loud if you can. Say the words until they start to feel natural in your mouth. Language only really becomes yours when you use it before you feel completely ready. That's a wrap on episode 4 of Noka Daily English. First day at a new job, we went through the full first day toolkit, the intro formula with one real detail, how to handle small talk in every gap of the day, how to ask questions without feeling like a burden, and how to close your day in a way that people actually remember.
The biggest takeaway, you don't have to be perfect on day one. You just have to be present, honest, and willing to ask. That's the person people want to work with. That's the person who survives the first day and builds something real from there.
Comment one word below. How do you feel before a first day at something new? We are reading every single one.
Subscribe for a new episode every day. And tomorrow, episode 5, When Things Go Wrong. What to say when you've missed a deadline, made a mistake, or have to deliver news someone doesn't want to hear. All in natural professional English. Don't miss it.
See you tomorrow. You got this. Bye.
Bye, everyone.